In an ever-evolving world, the climate is not an exception. Changes are happening, and they're happening fast. Our survival hinges on understanding this shift. We'll delve into Earth's changing climate, guided by recent space-based observations. Join us as we explore the recent space-based observations that are painting a clearer picture of Earth's changing climate. Satellites, our eyes in the sky, have been instrumental in studying our planet's health. These technological marvels orbit our world, ceaselessly collecting data on a multitude of environmental factors. They lend us their vision, bringing the farthest corners of our planet into sharp focus. There are a variety of satellites, each designed to monitor specific aspects of our environment. Weather satellites, for instance, provide us with temperature data, cloud patterns, and storm formations. Earth observation satellites, on the other hand, meticulously track changes in our planet's surface, from deforestation to urban growth. Then we have climate satellites, the unsung heroes of climate science. They monitor the Earth's radiation budget, atmospheric composition, and oceanic conditions. They give us the big picture, tracking long-term changes and subtle shifts in our climate. These invaluable tools provide us with a wealth of knowledge about our planet, including its changing climate. As we continue to unravel the mysteries of our world, satellites will undoubtedly play a pivotal role in shaping our understanding. One of the most alarming signs of climate change is the rising sea levels. This isn't just a prediction or a theoretical model, but a tangible, measurable reality. Recent satellite observations have been instrumental in understanding this phenomenon. Satellites, from their vantage point high above the Earth's surface, have been recording the slow but steady increase in global sea levels. The causes for this increase are twofold. First, as the planet heats up, ocean waters expand. This thermal expansion is responsible for about half of the observed rise in sea levels. The second significant cause is the melting of ice over land, primarily glaciers and polar ice sheets, which adds more water to the oceans. The rate at which sea levels are rising has been accelerating over the past century. In the early 20th century, the average rate of rise was less than 1 millimeter per year. By the close of the century, that rate had more than tripled. The impact of rising sea levels is profound and far-reaching. Coastal communities around the world are at the front lines of this environmental change. As sea levels continue to rise, these communities face increased risks of flooding, erosion, and storm surge damage. Beyond the immediate physical threats, rising sea levels also have potential to displace people from their homes, disrupt local economies, and even reshape the world's coastlines. This is not a distant future scenario. It's happening now. Satellite data has shown that since the early 90s, global sea levels have risen by about 3 inches. That's an average rate of more than 1 millimeter per year, and it's accelerating. While the numbers and statistics can seem abstract, they represent real and significant changes to our planet. Each millimeter of sea level rise represents a significant amount of heat absorbed by our oceans and a significant loss of ice from our glaciers and polar ice caps. Rising sea levels are a stark reminder of the reality of climate change. They are a call to action, urging us to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and work towards a sustainable future. Because the oceans don't just reflect the state of our planet, they mirror the state of our stewardship of the Earth. From the Arctic to the Antarctic, our planet's ice is melting at an unprecedented rate. Let's take a moment to consider the enormity of this statement. The vast expanses of ice that have covered our poles for millions of years are now rapidly diminishing, and it's not just a natural cycle. Satellite data tells us a story that is both alarming and undeniable. These ice caps, like the massive Greenland and Antarctic ice sheets, are integral to our planet's health. They reflect sunlight back into space, helping to regulate our global temperature. But as the ice melts, less sunlight is reflected and more is absorbed by the ocean and land, leading to further warming. This is a phenomenon known as the albedo effect. Satellite images have shown us that the rate of ice melt has accelerated dramatically in recent decades. For instance, the Greenland ice sheet, the second largest ice mass in the world, is losing an estimated 287 billion metric tons of ice per year. That's equivalent to over 100 million Olympic swimming pools of water every year. But what does this mean for us and for future generations? The most immediate consequence is the rise in sea levels. As the ice melts and flows into the oceans, sea levels around the world are rising, threatening coastal cities and low-lying nations. Beyond rising seas, the melting ice also disrupts ocean currents, affecting weather patterns and potentially leading to more extreme weather events. It impacts wildlife, particularly polar species that rely on sea ice for survival. And it contributes to a feedback loop of warming, as the dark ocean and land exposed by melting ice absorb more sunlight, leading to further ice melt. The melting ice caps are a sobering reminder of the urgency of the climate crisis. They're a clear sign that we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and transition to a more sustainable way of life. But there's also a glimmer of hope. If we act now, we can slow the melting and mitigate some of its most harmful effects. The melting ice caps are a chilling testament to the rapid changes our planet is undergoing. Scene script. Climate change is not just about rising sea levels and melting ice caps. It's a multifaceted issue, with several other indicators that are just as critical and equally telling. Recent satellite observations have given us new insights into these other aspects of climate change. Firstly, let's talk about vegetation. You might be wondering, what does greenery have to do with climate change? Well, quite a bit. Changes in climate affect the health, distribution, and productivity of forests, grasslands, and crops worldwide. Satellites have observed shifts in vegetation patterns, with some regions experiencing increased greenery due to warmer temperatures and higher carbon dioxide levels, while others see a decline because of drought and heat stress. Secondly, we have desertification. This term refers to the process by which fertile land becomes desert, typically as a result of inappropriate agriculture, deforestation, or climate change. Satellite imagery has helped scientists track the spread of deserts, particularly in regions like the Sahel in Africa, where desertification threatens the livelihoods of millions. Finally, extreme weather events. We've all seen the news reports of devastating hurricanes, floods, and wildfires. What you might not know is that these events are becoming more frequent and severe due to climate change. Satellites play a crucial role in monitoring these disasters, providing data on storm formation, path, and intensity, which helps in disaster management and mitigation. These observations from space offer a unique perspective on climate change. They allow scientists to monitor large-scale phenomena over long periods, something that would be impossible from the ground. It's like having a bird's-eye view of the entire planet, watching the slow but steady march of climate change. But remember, these are not just scientific curiosities. They have real-world impacts on people and ecosystems. Changes in vegetation can affect food security. Desertification can displace communities. Extreme weather events can cause loss of life and property. These changes, though subtle at times, are clear indicators of a changing climate. Each one tells a story of a planet under stress. But it's also a story of resilience, of adaptation, and hopefully, of change for the better. The evidence is clear and undeniable. Our planet's climate is changing. The marvels of modern technology, with satellites as our eyes in the sky, have painted a detailed picture of the shift in Earth's climate. These space-based observatories have revealed alarming trends, such as rising sea levels, melting ice caps, and other significant indicators of climate change. Rising sea levels, a direct consequence of melting ice caps, pose a serious threat to coastal communities worldwide. This isn't a distant future scenario, but a reality we're witnessing today. From the icy realms of the Arctic and Antarctic, our satellites have captured images of ice caps and glaciers melting at an unprecedented rate, contributing to this global crisis. But the climate change narrative doesn't end there. Other indicators, like increasing global temperatures, shifts in weather patterns, and changes in plant and animal behavior, further confirm the urgency of the situation. It's a complex puzzle, with each piece interconnected and influencing the others, shaping the overall impact on our planet. Understanding climate change isn't just about acknowledging these changes. It's about realizing the implications for our world and future generations. It's about recognizing the urgency to act. As we've seen, the impacts are far-reaching, affecting not just our environment, but every aspect of life on Earth. As we continue to monitor our changing planet from space, we must also take steps on the ground to mitigate the impacts of climate change. After all, there's no planet B. It's up to us to ensure that our home remains a vibrant, thriving world for centuries to come. As stewards of this beautiful blue sphere, we have both the power and the responsibility to make a difference.